The challenge rang out like a judge's verdict, slicing through a quiet courtroom. "Dance the waltz, and I'll take you in," Victor Harrington declared, his voice sharp and final. The ballroom fell silent. No music, no chatter, just wide-eyed glances darting between the billionaire and this small girl at the edge of the gleaming marble. A few guests chuckled, unsure if it was a jest. A woman in sapphires smirked, whispering behind her hand. Victor's face remained stern. He swirled his bourbon and added, "One misstep, and it's back to the barn for you. That's where strays belong." Unease rippled through the crowd, gasps, hushed disapproval, shoulders shifting uncomfortably. Lila's hazel eyes locked onto his across the polished floor. Her dress sagged at the seams, her bare feet dusted with dirt, her small hands clutching a worn radio with a chipped handle. "This is cruel," someone near the stage muttered. Another hissed, "Is this abuse or just a tycoon's whim?" Amos, her grandfather, stood rigid by the tall arched doors, his knuckles pale. His eyes begged Lila to stay put, but she stepped forward, then again. "She's really doing it," a voice whispered, stunned. Victor tilted his head, a glint of amusement in his eyes. "So you're in, little stray?" Lila's throat tightened, but she raised her chin. "I'm no stray," she said, her voice steady, almost serene. "And you don't scare me." The crowd stirred, torn between laughter and cheers. Victor's brow arched. "Bold words for a scrappy thing." "I may be scrappy," Lila shot back, "but I thrive where your prized Lila wilt." If this story resonates with you, give the video a like to show your support and share where you're rewatching from in the comments. You might find a neighbor watching too. The room froze. Even Victor blinked, caught off guard. Lila walked to the center of the floor, set her battered radio down gently, and pressed play. Static crackled. Then the faint strains of the Blue Danube spilled out. But before she could move, a boy stepped forward from the opposite side. "I'll dance with her," he said. The crowd gasped again. Noah Caldwell, son of Governor Caldwell, stood tall, chin lifted. "Noah," his mother snapped from her table. "Get back here now." He didn't flinch. She shouldn't face this alone. He crossed to Lila and extended his hand. She hesitated. "You sure about this?" she asked. He nodded. "Are you scared?" "I am," Lila admitted, "but not of the dance. I'm scared of giving up." "Good," Noah said, taking her hand. "Then we won't." Their steps were tentative at first, a clumsy spin, a missed beat. But their raw, unguarded courage sparked something electric, cutting through the ballroom's opulence like lightning in a storm. "I've never danced," Noah whispered. Lila grinned. "Neither have I. Let's fake it together." The crowd watched, silent. Even Victor lowered his glass. They danced not for perfection or praise, but as children defying expectation, awkward, barefoot, too young, too small, yet unforgettable. When the waltz ended, they stood panting, hands clasped. Lila faced Victor, her voice unwavering. "Well, do you keep your word or only when it suits you?" Victor blinked, as if jolted from a trance. He glanced at his guests, expecting laughter to break the spell, but the mood had shifted. Amusement faded, replaced by respect for the girl and a quiet challenge aimed at him. "Do you?" He cleared his throat, setting his glass down. "Of course I keep my word," he said, brushing an imaginary speck from his suit. "Always have." He turned and strode off the dance floor, muttering to his aide. The crowd hesitated, then offered polite, scattered applause that faded into the music's return. Lila exhaled, her knees trembling. Her fingers slipped from Noah's. She looked up at him. "Thank you," she whispered. He smiled. "You're kind of incredible." "I'm kind of dizzy," she said, giggling softly. Amos pushed through the crowd, face flushed with worry. "You shouldn't have done that." "I had to," Lila said firmly. "He challenged me." Amos knelt to her level. "Challenges from men like him aren't games, sweetheart. They're traps." "I didn't get caught," she replied. He studied her, this fierce girl with a lion's heart and dancer's feet. "No, you didn't," he said softly, "but you scared me to death." They embraced, the world shrinking to just them for a moment. Then a voice cut through. "Mr. Harrington requests the girl in his study," a young man in a dark suit said, his face blank. Amos stood, shielding Lila. "For what?" "To discuss terms," the man replied. Lila tugged Amos's sleeve. "I'll go." He looked down, torn between fear and pride. "Only if I'm there too," he said firmly. The man nodded. "As you wish." In the study, the air was heavy with oak and faint cigar smoke. Victor sat behind a vast desk, fingers steepled, eyes sharp. Lila stood tall, chin high, with Amos's rough hand on her shoulder. Victor spoke first. "You caused quite a stir tonight." Lila said nothing. He leaned forward. "You challenged me publicly. I don't take kindly to that. You said if I danced, you'd care for me," she replied. "I danced," he nodded, "and I'll keep my promise. But this isn't a fairy tale. I'm no hero, and this manor isn't a castle." "I don't need fairy tales," Lila said. "I need a chance." Victor studied her, surprised by her steady voice, her unyielding gaze. He turned to Amos. "Her education will be covered private school, uniforms, tutors, meals. She live here under my oversight." Amos stiffened. "She needs more than logistics. She needs care. She have security, structure, stability," Victor said flatly. "You'll stay on as staff. You can see her daily, but she's in my charge." Lila glanced between them, not grasping every word but sensing the shift. "Can I keep my radio?" she asked. Victor blinked. "Your what?" "The radio that plays the waltz." He hesitated, then waved a hand. "Fine." "And can I visit my mother's grave every Sunday?" A pause. "That's acceptable." "And dinner with Grandpa on Fridays." Victor's lips twitched, almost a smile. "You're already negotiating." "I'm making agreements," Lila corrected. Amos stifled a laugh. Victor leaned back, regarding her like a puzzle he hadn't meant to solve. "Fine," he said. "But under my roof, you'll learn discipline. No coddling here." "I don't want coddling," Lila replied. "Just room to grow." Outside, the night resumed with clinking glasses and waltz melodies. But in the study, something profound had shifted. Victor stood, offering his hand. "Welcome to Harrington Manor." Lila took it, not as a child, but as someone sealing a pact with a man who'd forgotten how to feel. Thus began not a fairy tale, but something rarer, a new chapter, a new struggle, a chance to prove origins don't dictate destiny. As Lila left the study with Amos, she glanced at the grand staircase and whispered, "One step at a time." The next morning, Layla awoke in a bed vast as the kitchen she once shared with Amos. Silky sheets, polished floorboards, a tall window pouring sunlight onto her face, It felt unreal. She sat up, eyes scanning the ornate room. Silver frames, soaring ceilings, brocade curtains. The silence was deafening, no kettle humming, no clatter of Amos's tools, no radio static, just stillness. Yet this was her new home. Downstairs, the manor buzzed. Maids polished railings, a chef shouted in the kitchen, and in the conservatory, Amos pruned vines, his face creased with thought. At breakfast, a housekeeper named Rose led Lila to a dining room where a table for 20 held just one other occupant. Victor, buried in the Financial Times, a black coffee untouched. "Sit," he said, eyes on the paper. Lila's toes dangled above the floor in the oversized chair. A butler set down a silver plate, eggs, sausage, toast sliced into neat triangles. She stared. "Something wrong?" Victor asked, folding his paper. "I usually eat cereal," she said. He studied her, then nodded to the butler. "Cereal tomorrow." She smiled faintly. "Thank you." "Don't thank me yet," he muttered. "You've got an evaluation today." "Evaluation?" she asked. Victor leaned forward. "This isn't a handout, Lila. If you stay, you'll be tested schoolwork, manners, focus." "I expect excellence." Lila paused, then asked, "Will Noah be there?" Victor's brows rose. "The Caldwell boy. Why would he? He helped me. I thought he might keep helping. Noah's a guest, not staff. Don't mistake kindness for obligation." Lila fell silent, the words settling heavily. That morning, she was led to a study room lined with books and a chalkboard where a stern tutor, Miss Evelyn, waited. Her bun was tight, her posture rigid. "We begin with posture and grammar," she said. "Speak like a lady, stand like one, think like one." Hours passed with recitation, copying, repetition. Lila's fingers ached, her head throbbed, but she didn't complain. At lunch, she found Amos by a row of daisies. "You okay, Pumpkin?" he asked, wiping sweat from his brow. "My brain's stuffed," she sighed, slumping onto a garden bench. He chuckled. "That means it's stretching." "I miss our backyard," she whispered. "The porch, your burnt toast." His smile saddened. "Me too." "Do you think he'll keep his promise, or is he waiting for me to fail?" Amos considered. "Victor Harrington honors public promises. Whether he does it with heart, we'll see." That afternoon, Lila returned to the ballroom where it all began. Miss Evelyn introduced Mr. Theodore, a dance instructor who bowed theatrically and demanded grace from her first step. "Back straight, elbows up, not out. You're not swatting bugs." Lila stumbled, caught herself, and pressed on, biting her lip. The piano echoed with notes and corrections, her feet sore, her dress damp with sweat. As the lesson ended, a voice came from the doorway. "Your left turns are sharper." Lila turned. Noah stood there, grinning. "You watched?" she asked. "Couldn't resist." "You own the room." She smiled. "Victor says you're just a guest." "I'm a guest with a bike," he said. "Want to sneak a ride later?" She hesitated. "I'm not allowed off the grounds." "The path's behind the conservatory. No one will notice." Excitement sparked in her chest. Rebellion, freedom. She nodded. That evening, as the sun dipped behind the hills, Lila slipped past the fountain to meet Noah by the garden gate. He had 2 bikes, one borrowed from staff. They rode helmetless, rules forgotten, laughter trailing in the wind. At a grassy hilltop, they paused. "You're not what I expected," Noah said. "What did you expect? Someone timid, scared?" I am scared, she admitted. I just hide it well. He paused. You're going to shake this place up. Layla gazed at the stars piercing the dusk. I just danced, she said softly. Yeah, and everyone felt it. Back at the manor, Rose waited at the door. You're not supposed to be out, she scolded gently. Leela's smile faded. Mr. Harrington noticed. Lila's heart sank. Rose leaned closer, whispering, but he said, let her have the hill. Something shifted, not the whole manor, not Victor, but a sliver of trust, a beginning. The next morning, an envelope slid under Lila's door, her name scrawled in elegant cursive. Her pulse quickened as she opened it. Miss Lila, you will dine with Mr. Harrington at 7:00 p.m. Proper attire required. Select a dress from the guest wardrobe. Rose. Lila read it twice. Dinner with him. Her stomach churned, not with excitement but with questions. She recalled his piercing gaze, his measured words. Even his kindness felt like a test. By evening, she stood before a mirror in the guest wardrobe, wearing a deep green velvet dress, slightly too large, sleeves grazing her wrists. Rose had tied her hair with a navy ribbon. She looked older, steadier, unfamiliar. You look like you belong at the front door, Rose teased. Lila descended the grand staircase, hand gliding along the banister, rehearsing. Thank you. Yes, sir. I'm trying. In the dining room, Victor sat at one end of the long table, Leila at the other. You're late, he said, eyes on his folders. It's 6:59, she replied softly but firmly. He looked up, nodded approvingly. Punctuality with spine, good. A butler poured water, another brought bread and soup. They ate in silence, silver clinking, tension thick. Victor broke it. Your tutor says you read at a 6th grade level. Lila blinked. Is that bad? It's surprising. I like reading, she said. Stories take me places I've never been. He sipped wine. You're somewhere now, she frowned. That doesn't mean I stop exploring. He studied her, seeing something beneath the dress, the girl. You'll need more than imagination to stay here. Discipline, grace, control. I have discipline, she said. Just not shoes that fit yet. A pause. Then, to her shock, Victor chuckled softly. Rose will fix that, he said. The meal passed quietly. Lila asked about the hallway painting, the odd brass telescope on the balcony. Victor answered briefly but not coldly. When lemon tart arrived, he watched her take a bite. You have good taste, she grinned. I have expensive taste, he corrected. I'll learn the difference, she replied. Later, climbing to her room, Lila replayed the conversation. It went better than expected, no traps, just tension wrapped in civility. But peace was fleeting. The next morning, Noah didn't appear by the conservatory. Lila waited by the daisies, gravel crunching under her toes. 10 minutes, then 20. Nothing. Later, she saw him in the east wing, hurrying beside a tall woman in sunglasses, his mother. He didn't wave, didn't look her way. That evening, during study with Miss Evelyn, Lila's focus wavered. Her pen scratched harder, her posture slouched, her answers lagged. Focus, Lila, Evelyn snapped. You were better yesterday. Lila's jaw tightened. Yesterday, I had a friend. Evelyn's eyes narrowed. Friendships are privileges, not guarantees. That night, Lila stood by her window, staring at the hill. The wind swayed the grass, moonlight stretching across the manor, but her chest ached. On the fourth day, she spotted Noah in the library, sitting with his mother and Victor, flipping through architectural sketches. She approached cautiously. His mother saw her first. "That girl again," she said sharply. "She's invited," Victor said calmly. "Charity doesn't come with a dress code," she muttered. Leela froze. Noah looked up, eyes torn. "Hi, Lila," he said softly. She didn't smile. "You stopped coming." "I had lessons with my father. You didn't say goodbye." "I didn't know how," he admitted. Victor closed the folder. "Leila, come here." She stepped forward. "These are plans for a community center in town." "Know what that is?" "A place for people to connect," she said. He nodded. "You'll speak at the opening in 2 weeks." Her eyes widened. "What? You're the story, the symbol. Donors notice that." "I'm not a symbol," she said, voice rising. "I'm a person." Victor's gaze cooled. "And if you want to stay, you'll act like one." "Understood?" Noah looked guilty. Lila faced Victor. "If I speak, it'll be my truth, not yours." A long silence. Then, surprisingly, Victor nodded. "Fair, but make it polished." She turned to leave. Behind her, Noah whispered, "She's braver than us all." And she was. Even if her hands shook behind closed doors, even if footsteps echoed like tests, she was determined to pass. The day before the charity event, the manor felt hushed, not peaceful but taut, like a held breath. Florists rushed with armfuls of blooms, chefs barked orders, security moved like shadows. Lila watched from the second-floor landing, arms crossed. She hadn't seen Victor since their library clash. He was busy with meetings, donors, calls. Noah was gone, back in the city, Rose said. Lila wondered if he'd return for her speech. That afternoon, wandering the West Wing's dim halls, she passed portraits with cold eyes and thin lips. Her steps were muffled on the carpet. Then she saw it, a chipped white door, no nameplate, just a brass knob. Drawn by instinct, she turned it. The room was dusty, furniture draped in sheets, the air heavy with faded rosewater. On the far wall hung a framed photo of a girl in a ballerina dress, mid-twirl, her smile vibrant. She looked Lila's age. Her name was Clara, Victor said from the doorway, his voice unreadable. Lila turned. Who was she? My daughter. The air stilled. She died at 7. Car accident. My wife too. Lila swallowed, feeling the weight in his words. I was in Singapore, closing a deal, he continued. Missed her last recital, watched it on a plane, 6 hours too late. Lila looked at the photo. She looks joyful. She was, he said, until the world showed money doesn't protect you. Silence stretched. Victor stepped inside, uncovering a music box on a shelf. He wound it, and a delicate, mournful tune played. She danced to this, he said. Said it felt like soaring. Lila watched the chipped ballerina spin. Why bring me here? Victor met her eyes. Tomorrow, when you face that crowd, I need you to know you're not just a symbol. You're a living memory, reminding me what I lost. Lila stepped closer to the music box. I'll tell them my truth, where I'm from, what I want to be. He nodded. Then they'll hear you. The next morning, Lila stood behind the velvet curtain at the community center, dressed in a pale lavender dress Rose picked. Her palms were sweaty, her stomach knotted. She heard the crowd murmurs, laughter, clinking glasses. Amos appeared, his hand on her shoulder. Be you, he said. I'm scared, she whispered. That means it matters. Noah arrived, hair neat, in a dark blazer. He handed her a folded paper. A poem, he said. For after your speech, if you want to end strong. Her eyes shone. You came back. I promised, he said. Victor's voice boomed from the stage. And now, a voice proving talent knows no address, courage, no lineage, Miss Lila Bennett. She stepped into the light. The crowd hushed. She faced a sea of faces elegant, expectant, indifferent, and spoke. My name is Lila. I don't come from wealth or perfect circumstances. But I come from love, from my grandfather's garden, a radio playing waltzes in the dark, a mother who taught me small doesn't mean weak. She paused. I live in a grand house now, learning its rules. But I don't belong to it. I belong to something bigger, the belief that anyone, no matter how broken or barefoot, can dance into a better life. Applause began, scattered, then swelling. She glanced at Noah, unfolded his poem, and read, If you see a child dancing alone, don't turn away. She might be practicing for the moment her world shifts, showing you grace earned, not inherited. The room erupted. Some stood. Victor didn't smile, but placed a hand over his chest and nodded once. 3 days later, Lila's speech rippled across social media. Shaky footage, imperfect sound, but her words landed in churches, schools, book clubs, small-town papers. People spoke of the barefoot girl who made billionaires listen, but with attention came whispers. At lunch with Rose, Lila overheard guests behind napkins. That's the charity case, right? A pet project. She speaks too well for a gardener's kid. Lila pushed her salad around, appetite gone. Rose squeezed her hand. Smile taller, she whispered. It unsettles them. Noah brought a magazine to the library, its cover showing Victor beside Lila at the event. Harrington's new legacy, a tycoon's unlikely heir. Heir? Lila asked. They think you're his project or his replacement, Noah said. I'm just me, she said. That's what scares them, he replied gently. That evening, Victor called her to the study. You'll attend a brunch Sunday with the governor's wife and the Women's Cultural Council president. Lila blinked. But Sundays I visit my mom's grave. They requested you, he said, not looking up. It's important. My mom's grave isn't negotiable, she said. Victor stared, then sighed. You'll go Saturday. I'll arrange transport. She nodded stiffly. Thank you. But as she left, something cracked. The faint warmth she'd felt cooled. Amos's words echoed. Challenges from powerful men are traps. Comfort was the snare, and it was tightening. Saturday, Amos took her to the cemetery. The gravestone sat under an oak, modest and clean. Lila knelt, brushing leaves away. I miss you, she whispered. But you'd be proud. Amos stood nearby. She would be. Did I choose wrong? She asked. He shook his head. No, but Victor might be forgetting why he chose you. They returned by noon. Rose met them at the entrance, eyes tense. There's a leak. A reporter got Victor's will. Lila blinked. His will? It names you as a potential beneficiary. What does that mean? If something happens to him, you could inherit everything. Lila's jaw dropped. I don't want that. Doesn't matter, Rose said. Others do. And now they know. The days that followed turned tense. Staff grew distant. Whispers sharpened. Invitations ceased. Miss Evelyn grew harsher. The pastry chef skipped Lila's favorite tart. Noah stayed loyal, but his father's political demands pulled him away. One night, Lila overheard voices outside Victor's office. "He's making a mistake," a man said. "Giving her access is reckless." "She's a child," Victor's lawyer replied, "a clever one. She's from nothing and will return to nothing if you don't stop this." Lila backed away, heart racing. That night, she couldn't sleep, staring at the ceiling, thinking of Clara, the music box, the manor's hollow grandeur. The next morning, she found Victor in the conservatory, alone. "Did you put me in your will?" she asked. He didn't flinch. "I did." "Why?" "Because you're the only one here who speaks truth." "Now they hate me," she whispered. "They think I'm after everything." Victor looked up. "Are you?" She shook her head. "I don't want things. I want to stop being a threat." He exhaled. "Then we'll show them what legacy means." Lila studied him. "How?" He stood, wiping his hands. "We build something bigger than this manor, and let them see you do it." The whispers didn't stop, but Lila stopped hiding. She walked through the storm, and soon others would follow. The manor's walls seemed to murmur now, not with words, but with glances, doors clicking shut as she passed. Her place at the table shrank. Conversations paused when she entered. Servants' smiles were hollow. She tried to ignore it, studying harder, standing straighter, greeting everyone politely. But the suspicion seeped into her like damp cold. Even Miss Evelyn, once fair, grew distant. "Your math is careless today," she snapped one morning. "Are you distracted?" "No, ma'am," Leila said softly. "Then stop acting childish and perform like the lady you claim to be." The word claim stung like a lash. That afternoon, Lila curled up on a garden bench, knees to her chest. Amos found her. "You look like you're trying to disappear," he said, sitting beside her. "Maybe I am," she replied. He handed her a warm biscuit wrapped in a napkin. "When a flower grows too tall, weeds get jittery." Lila nibbled the biscuit, savoring its warmth. "They think I'm here to steal." Amos looked at her. "Then show them you're here to create." Her eyes narrowed. "How?" He smiled. "By building something they can't uproot." The next day, Lila strode into the library where Victor read by the fireplace. "I want to start a program," she said. "For girls like me, curious, smart, from nowhere special. A place to learn without being mocked, where they don't have to pretend to fit in." Victor lowered his paper. "You're 11. 12 in 4 months," she countered. "You said legacy is built. Let me build." He stared, then said, "Write a proposal. Present it to the board at next week's donor brunch." She blinked. "You're serious?" "As serious as you are." Lila threw herself into it like a tempest. She worked late. Rose formatted the proposal. Noah proofread her speech. Amos suggested names. They chose Clara Initiative after Victor's daughter. At the brunch, Lila faced 24 powerful guests, chin high. "I don't want to be the exception," she said. "I want to be the start." The room stilled. Even the governor's wife dabbed her eyes. A donor stood. "Who's guiding her?" "No one," Victor said proudly. "She's guiding us." Applause followed, genuine, warm. But at the back, a man in a sharp suit watched, unclapping. Rose later whispered his name. "Mr. Langston, Victor's rival." "He's dangerous," she said. the kind who smiles while measuring your steps. Lila's dreams that night twisted with waltzes and faceless whispers behind curtains. The Clara Initiative grew, donors pledged, letters arrived, news outlets requested interviews. Lila, still learning to tie her dresses, answered questions on educational equity. But success brought costs. Some staff grew colder. Miss Evelyn requested reassignment. Rumors swirled that Victor was being manipulated. One evening, Lila sat alone in the music room, pressing a piano key. Victor appeared. "You look like you're thinking too loud." "I don't know if I belong anymore," she admitted. "Belonging isn't about acceptance," he said. "It's about staying when it's hard." She played another note. "Is that how you built this?" He chuckled. "No, I built it by hating no." Lila nodded. "I'm learning that." He placed a hand on her shoulder. "You've done more in months than most do in years." But power breeds envy, and envy poisons. "How do I stop it?" "You don't," he said. "You outlast it." Outside, wind pressed the windows. Inside, a girl and a man sat in fading light, not as owner and guest, but as two who knew what it meant to dance in silence and be heard. Lila knew the whispers no longer defined her. She was becoming louder than any rumor. One morning, Lila found the conservatory door ajar, unusual for dawn. Expecting Amos, she stepped inside. Tomato vines lay toppled, pots shattered, lily wilted, irrigation tubes torn. Her chest tightened. Who would do this? She ran to the kitchen, where Amos and Rose talked quietly. "Grandpa, the conservatory, it's ruined." They hurried back. Amos's breath caught at the wreckage. "It was fine last night," he muttered, kneeling by a broken pot. Rose scanned the damage. This was deliberate. Victor arrived with security, his face grim. "Anyone near the conservatory this morning?" he asked Lila. She shook her head. "The door was open, that's all." Amos stood. "Whoever did this knew what to hit." "Lily don't die easily unless you know how." Victor nodded to the guards. "Check the footage." Lila looked up. "Is this about the initiative?" Victor didn't answer, staring toward the hedges. That afternoon, tension gripped the manor. Whispers grew bolder. Kitchen staff avoided Lila's gaze. Miss Evelyn's corrections were sharper. That evening, Noah returned, finding Lila in the library, rearranging books to stay busy. "I heard about the conservatory," he said. "Someone destroyed it," she replied. "Everything Amos planted." Noah lowered his voice. "My father says donors are nervous. You're too visible." Lila turned. "Too visible? I'm a kid helping kids." "Politics doesn't care about innocence," he said. "Only control." Lila stared at the shelves. "I thought helping was safe." "It's never safe when power's involved," Noah said. That night, Lila played a few cold piano keys. Victor appeared. "We found something on the tapes." He handed her a tablet. The grainy footage showed a hooded figure entering the conservatory, turning briefly to the camera Miss Evelyn. Lila gasped. "Why?" "She's tied to Langston," Victor said. "Worked for his brother." "We found a payment this morning." She was paid to cause trouble. Lila sat stunned. "This wasn't about plants. It was about silencing me." "No," Victor said. "Scaring you quiet?" She shook her head. "They can't." Victor smiled faintly. "That's why they're afraid." Miss Evelyn was gone the next day. No fanfare, but the damage lingered. At the board meeting, some questioned Lila's role. "Too risky," one said. "Too chaotic," another added. Victor sat at the table's head. She is the initiative. Without her, it's just show. A compromise was struck. A co-chair, an adult, to ease concerns. Lila agreed reluctantly. If it keeps the doors open, she told Rose, it's worth it. But something had shifted. That night, she found Amos replanting in the conservatory. Why do they hate me? She asked. They don't, he said. They fear what you mean, which is that the future might not need them. She sat beside him, watching him sow seeds. You're not here to fight fire with fire, he said. You're here to plant what outlives it. She thought of Clara's music box, Victor's rare smiles, Noah's loyalty. She nodded. I'll plant louder. Her presence unnerved them, and her persistence would shake them more. Change might just bloom where the old world stood. Autumn crept in, chilling the manor's edges. The Clara Initiative launched its pilot program at Willow Creek's community center. Lila visited, meeting girls like her younger self, bright but dimmed by hardship. She taught them library cards, cursive, storytelling. She returned changed. But the manor had changed too, its warmth replaced by a cold distance. At dinner, the long table stretched between Lila and Victor, empty chairs between. Rose was sick, Noah away, Amos eating with staff. Lila pushed peas around her plate. Victor spoke. You met the school director? Yes, she said. They want 2 more classrooms if we can fund supplies. I'll cover it, he said, slicing his steak. The board's restless again. Lila set her fork down. Why are they restless when I'm the one seeing moldy classrooms? Because they fund them, Victor said. She held his gaze. And I'm trying to build better ones. He paused. Your fire burns too bright, Lila. It scares people. Good, she said. It should. He studied her. You're not a child anymore. I don't think I ever was, she replied. A butler placed an envelope beside Victor. He scanned it, stiffened. What is it? Lila asked. An audit, he said. Someone's questioning the manor's funds, implying misuse. Her stomach twisted. They think I'm stealing? They don't need to believe it, he said. They just need others to doubt. She stood. So I'm a problem again. He didn't answer, instead placing a silver key on the table. The North Tower Archive, he said. You want me to find something. I want you to understand what came before and what's next. That night, Lila climbed to the tower alone. The room was cold, shelves stuffed with files, photos, letters. She found pictures of Clara, Victor's wife's letters, clippings from Harrington Enterprises' Rise. Then a file, Willowbrook Project, confidential. Photos of displaced families, lawsuits, a settlement with Victor's name. She stared, heart heavy. At breakfast, she faced him. I found the file. You hurt people to build this. He didn't flinch. Yes, and now I'm trying to fix it through you. Why? Because Clara thought I was good, he said. I want you to be the woman she'd have followed. Lila looked away. You can't erase the past with speeches or scholarships. No, he said. But I can give you the power to write something better. She stood. Then let me write it my way. He nodded. Lila, he called as she left. Legacy isn't just what we leave. It's who carries it forward. That night, she wrote an op-ed, We Inherit Pain and Power. I'll use the second to heal the first. It published in 3 papers the next morning. The papers arrived at dawn, headlines bold. Gardener's granddaughter speaks truth, an heir with a mission. Lila read her words, heart soaring and heavy. At breakfast, Victor looked up from her op-ed. "You wrote this." "I did," she said. He nodded. "You meant it." Across town, reactions exploded. Letters poured in praise, doubts, stories. A woman inspired to speak, a teacher sharing Lila's words, a girl taping a flower to her picture. Staff whispered, "She's not just a guest. She's changing things." Noah arrived, eyes bright. "You're trending Twitter, Instagram, your school's hashtag." Lila pressed a hand to her chest. But not all celebrated. Investors questioned Victor's judgment, calling her op-ed risky. Victor faced the board alone. "She's not a liability," he said. "She's the future." That evening, Lila played a piano key in the music room. Amos brought cocoa. "You did it," he said. "I told the truth," she replied. "That's how change begins," he said, eyes misty. Victor appeared. "Your words did this," he said, gesturing to the papers. "Now they'll expect more. Are you ready?" "I am," she said. He pushed the papers aside. "The initiative will grow more centers, programs. You'll be its founder." Her breath caught. "But, no buts," he said gently. "You're stepping up." That night, Lila sat on her windowsill, the world alight with newsstands carrying her words. She thought of Clara's music box, her mother's lullabies, Amos's garden, Noah's loyalty. She smiled. She wasn't dancing alone anymore. Her echo wouldn't fade. Winter blanketed the manor in snow, a silent fairy tale blurring reality and expectation. Tension crackled within. Lila watched snowflakes fall from the drawing room, clutching Noah's map. Amos entered. "You're quiet," he said. "I'm worried," she admitted. "They're twisting our story, scaring people." "Roots grow underground first," he said. "Be patient." "Roots in winter," she mused. "The strongest," he smiled. Victor called a meeting in the conservatory, surrounded by defiant greenery. "The board's divided," he said. "The initiative needs restructuring guidance, public support, partnerships." Lila stood. "We have people who believe in the cause, not me." Miss Harper, a former principal, stepped forward. "Scholarship fund, mentorship networks, public showcase." Lila met her eyes. "Let's do all three." Victor nodded. "We have the plan. Move." The conservatory buzzed with volunteers prepping donation bags, tables set with Clara initiative, rooted in community. Lila watched, feeling a heartbeat that refused to falter. That evening, Noah waited by the garden gate with a lantern, offering a box with a sapling root. "Plant it," he whispered. "Grow it." Tears pricked her eyes. "I will." They carried the root together, a promise. Days later, the manor opened to the public. Classrooms hummed, student art lined halls, letters to Lila pinned on a board. She guided tours through the conservatory library. A donor approached. "I thought this was PR. It's real." "Real change doesn't follow press releases," Lila said. "It starts when we act." Victor joined her by the sapling. "You did this." "We did," she said. He pulled out the navy ribbon from her first dinner. "For your hair tomorrow." She took it. "Thank you." That night, after the guests left, Lila touched the sapling's trunk. "Grow strong," she whispered. Outside, snow pressed the panes. Inside, roots pushed toward life. Lila, a gardener's granddaughter in velvet and resolve, whispered, "So will I." Winter thawed into spring's tentative promise. The sapling budded, a reminder of gradual change. Lila balanced donor talks, speeches, school, her heart now pulsing with purpose, not fear. Rose found her sketching banners for the mentorship program. Hard at work? Designing posters, Lila said. Rose smiled. You're extraordinary. Lila checked the sapling, its buds unfurling. He's thriving, she told Victor in the conservatory. Like his gardener, he said. Like you. The mentorship program launched, the hall alive with girls carrying books, faces bright with curiosity. A parent teared up. My daughter never thought she could do this. Lila knelt. She can. She will. That evening, she and Noah practiced waltz steps, laughing at stumbles. I forgot how good it feels to move, she said. Maybe we'll dance again. No audience, he grinned. A critical article questioned the initiative's sustainability, Lila's age. She read it alone, doubt creeping in. Victor entered, placing a hand on hers. They doubt because you're changing the story. They ask if I belong, she said. You're where we belong, he replied. At a podium, banners read Clara Initiative, growing together. Lila spoke. They ask if a child can lead. No, I won't lead. We will, together. She pointed to the sapling. This tree grew from a clipped root. It didn't grow alone. Neither do we. Applause rose, resonant. A community affirming shared care. That night, snow fell. Lila pressed her hand to the glass, feeling warmth beneath the chill. Amos found her. You were beautiful, he said. It's the truth in the promise, she replied. Victor watched from the parlor, hand on the music box. You'd be proud, he whispered to its ballerina. Lila exhaled, resilience and legacy blooming through winter's storm. Roots, when nurtured, become forests. And she was growing into one. Spring woke fully, the conservatory humming with life ferns unfurling, seedlings stretching. Lila moved among them, guiding volunteers, encouraging timid hands. Local girls planted daisies. They protect, Lila said, kneeling. Like our initiative protects hearts from doubt. A girl touched a petal. Then I want lots. Lots it is, Lila smiled. A reception filled the hall with laughter, banners glowing. Lila led tours, a woman asking, How do you sustain this? By making it ours, Lila said. Classes, volunteers, belonging. Donors pledged, the halls warmer with faith. In the music room, Amos brought tea. What do you feel now? Safe, Lila said, like it's just starting. Weeks later, grants and partnerships secured the initiative's future. A plaque in the conservatory read, Clara Initiative Garden, where roots grow roots. Lila stood barefoot beside it, Noah and Amos reading it aloud. You built beyond this house, Noah said. Beyond what they said a girl could do, she replied. That night, Lila placed the sapling's root cutting in the tower archive among history made new. We grow, she whispered. Victor watched from the music room, hope in motion. The world celebrated empowerment, messages pouring in. Lila tucked the ribbon above her desk, beside her op-ed, crossing off another day of dreams blooming. I'll make you proud, she whispered. Spring had come, not just in branches but in hearts, growing something enduring, a movement rooted in truth, tended with love, blooming toward tomorrow. Summer arrived softly, sunlight spilling over thriving gardens. The mobile classroom rolled out, bringing books and seedlings to towns. Yet tension lingered, a held breath. A letter arrived. Miss Bennett, The Clara Initiative operates without full regulatory approval. Expect an audit. Lila's hands shook. Rose reassured her, "We're ready." But Lila felt a hollow ache. Was this legal or a test? In the study, Victor reviewed the letter. An audit's expected. "We'll show transparency and heart. I hope they see beyond papers," Lila said. Auditors arrive, probing funds, curriculum, safety. Lila answered clearly, her small voice carrying weight. When they left, Victor exhaled. They saw the impact. That night, Lila dreamed of rainstorms, her mother's lullabies. Morning found her by the glistening garden, touching the sapling. "We made it," she whispered. Resistance softened, teachers volunteered, donations trickled from families' businesses. Noah brought a workshop schedule. "More outreach," he said. "Roots, branches, reach." Lila grinned. A storm rolled in, rain drumming the conservatory. Lila rehearsed a speech for a philanthropic gathering, her reflection lit by candlelight. Victor appeared. "Storms show what's solid," she said. "Then speak your truth," he replied. At the gathering, she faced dignitaries. "We don't just give. We grow. Every child deserves roots, every community a chance to reach." Her stories of students, families, teachers sparked applause unwavering, affirming. A board member admitted, "I underestimated you." "I'm not a surprise," Lila said. "I'm love, roots, care." Back at the manor, her words bloomed. Towns requested visits, schools invited trainings, media sought sincere stories. In the conservatory, new shoots opened to summer light. Lila tied a gold ribbon to the sapling, now tall as her. "We're growing," she whispered, knowing the sun rose after storms, and so would she. September's golden warmth brought celebration 1 year of the Clara Initiative. The great hall filled with teachers, parents, leaders, even skeptics. Lila stood at the threshold, heart pounding with pride. This was no end, but a beginning. Rose approached. "You're glowing. Feels like home," Lila said. The sapling, draped in ribboned lights, stood central, its roots deep, leaves vibrant. Victor caught her eye, offering a proud smile. Teachers spoke of impact, parents of changed eyes, possibility. Lila took the stage. A year ago, this was a root in a cup. This initiative began with a waltz, a promise, a girl who danced anyway. She paused. Roots matter when they break the surface. Were planted for growth. Her words, grounded in experience, silenced the room, then drew applause like a rising tide. A reporter approached. "You've created trust." "That's legacy," Lila said. In the conservatory, Amos and Noah joined her by the sapling. "We did it," she whispered. "You did," Amos said. "You're planting hope," Noah added. Victor knelt by the sapling, hand above hers. "This was you, not me alone," she said. They stood among leaves once dreams. In her room, Lila pinned the sapling's ribbon beside her op-ed, writing, "Roots hold, branches reach, legacy grows when others plant." The manor glowed under moonlight, gardens, homes, schools touched by her work. Sleep came confidently. The sapling stood, its roots and legacy blooming. Lila's story teaches that transformation begins with belief in worth, community, nurturing the overlooked. Through resilience, compassion, courage, she turned rejection into opportunity, planting hope where doubt grew. Her journey shows justice grows quietly, deeply, unshakably, like roots. Legacy isn't what we achieve, but what we sow for others to inherit.